We had the first day of that peace forum yesterday, now entering its second day. What has been discussed thus far?
Well, the message at that day one of the Paris Peace Forum really seemed to echo the words by France's wartime leader, Georges Clemenceau, who spoke about the fact that it is easier to make war than peace. What we saw unfold in that event really was a sequence of impassioned pleas for global cooperation, for working together to tackle some of the most pressing crises facing the world at the moment, for valuing international institutions such as the United Nations. The French president delivered a surprisingly brief address and then invited the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to open the forum. Merkel spoke about the importance, or highlighted or warned against isolationism, saying it didn't work 100 years ago. Why would it work in today's interconnected world? And Antonio Guterres invited other world leaders to strengthen international cooperation to face the threats and tests of today and tomorrow. So it was really all about strengthening international cooperation, strengthening the foundations for lasting peace. And the vast majority of the 70 or so world leaders who came here to Paris to attend armistice commemorations attended the Paris Forum, the Paris Peace Forum, with, of course, the notable absence of the US President Donald Trump.
And is there any sense of why Donald Trump hasn't been there?
Well, Belle, speaking about international cooperation, praising international institutions that facilitate multilateralism is not exactly one of Donald Trump's priorities. He's been talking about putting America first. It's unclear whether this was a part of his plan when he announced he would come to Paris earlier this year for the military parade. He never spoke about staying longer for this forum. He was criticized for not attending a memorial on Saturday because of the weather, and he did instead go to an American cemetery on Sunday, the cemetery of Suresnes, to honor the memory of some 1,500 U.S. servicemen who are buried there. And after that, he traveled back to Washington, D.C.
And Annelies, over the weekend, there were comments from world leaders like Macron, like Merkel, that seemed to contain veiled criticisms of far-right ideologies. Has there been diplomatic reaction to that rhetoric?
Well, it was really interesting because even though the focus this weekend really was about what brings all these nations together, every single speech, Belle, seemed to talk about some of the differences between these nations. The Russian President Vladimir Putin had some interesting things to say about some remarks made by the French President Emmanuel Macron earlier in the week. Macron, who had been highlighting the importance of not taking peace for granted, also called on the creation of a real European army to defend the blocs against certain threats. Take a listen to what the Russian president had to say about Emmanuel Macron's plans.
To alternative European military forces, it's not a new idea. President Macron has revived it now, but I was told about it by one of the previous French presidents, Jacques Chirac. Actually, Europe is a great economic power, a great economic union, so it's quite natural that they want to be independent, self-reliant and sovereign in the sphere of defense and security. I think that this process is positive on the whole from the point of view of strengthening the multipolar nature of the world. In this regard, our position coincides with that of France.
In that regard, their position coincides with France, but clearly some differences were also present here in France this weekend, and perhaps that one image that is going to stay in people's minds, that solemn walk up the Champs-Élysées you see behind me, of the world leaders all conveying then near the Arc de Triomphe. Some two very interesting absences in that walk were, of course, that of the US President Donald Trump and the Russian leader Vladimir Putin.